I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number...
Everybody, welcome to what is arguably the most revolutionary chapter for Chainsaw Man Part 2, because we have now got clarity on everything that we had questions for. So over the past handful of months, the amount of mystery, the amount of murkiness, the amount of just loose ideas and theory crafting that was going out was perfectly fun and fine, but we didn't know where it was going. We didn't know what was going on. We know about Nostradamus' prophecy, but now we have answers, and it is scary. It's a lot more simple than I actually think a lot of people expected. And this is a typical thing that Fujimoto does. You tend to overthink what he's trying to do, so you second guess yourself, and then you change your original answer, but it turns out the original answer that you had was actually kind of correct all along. That's basically this situation, and I'm very excited. Let's get the elephant out of the room. The Death Devil has finally been revealed. So Nostradamus' prophecy, the whole age of devils, the king of terror, yep, that's death. We do know that it is the oldest sister of all the horsemen, which is kind of funny when it's spelled out towards you by Naruto of all people, not famine, not war, not anybody else, but Naruto. It doesn't really come as much of a shock. We had a pretty good hunch that the fourth and final horseman, being Death, would be an elder sister of some sort, thanks to Fami's introduction with war. Now that we have confirmation, concrete evidence that death is the big thing that's on the way, and we have half a year to figure out how to actually stop it, it makes things a little bit more comfortable, but also rather eerie, because let's just think about it for a moment, right? Currently, public safety is doing everything to stop Chainsaw Man from being Chainsaw Man. They're taking down the Chainsaw Man church, they're trying to stop Fami. Now, put Fami's goal into perspective, she wants to fight this Death Devil. That's legitimate by the sounds of it. Now Yuta kind of reconfirms the idea that the only way that death can actually be stopped is by two very powerful individuals, which is War controlling Chainsaw Man. And I'll separate that conversation for later. So if this is what Fami's trying to do, we already know her personal goal, we just didn't really believe it. She doesn't want the human race to cease to exist. Leave a like and subscribe. She likes the food. And while it's a simple-minded goal, it's something that all the horsemen kind of have in common with each other. They have this simplicity to themselves that's very unique and lovable. It's like the polar opposite of what they actually represent. So Fami is trying to stop death. Why is this theoretically a bad thing? If the age of devils, which is going to devour all of human life as we know it, why is public safety not trying to work with Fami? Why are they trying to stop everything from happening, or the motion of it from beginning? Does that make sense? Let's take it back just a step further though. Makima also had a very interesting perspective on the four horsemen, and she too wanted to devour her sisters using Chainsaw Man. She wanted to create peace within the world. So even though Makima was this evil, vindictive, manipulative devil, she did propose the idea of using Denji, or Pochita, get rid of the other horsemen. To me, this brings up a pretty interesting conversation. The idea of what Makima might have wanted to do and what Fami is doing right now are oddly similar, and their approach to trying to stop death is oddly similar. Because think about it like this, Fami is a very powerful individual. We already know that she can control primal fears. We don't know how difficult that is for her to actually achieve, but she's got already a pretty powerful one, which is 4. She still wants to use Denji, however, and she wants to use War to amplify Denji further. So it makes me think that maybe the only way that Makima and Fami even thought about even trying to kill death is that another horseman has to take control or weaponize Pochita specifically. And if you can utilize Pochita as a weapon, you can also maybe tap into that erasing ability to try and stop whatever they want for good. Makima seemed very set out on erasing everything from existence so humans could live in peace, in her own weird interpretation of it. Now this might sound probably pretty manageable. The issue, morally, ethically, balance-wise even, should you erase the idea, the concept of death itself? This is a question that I brought up a long time ago when the kind of sparkle of death was kind of floating within the air. We didn't really know anything about it. If Denji were to erase death, I think that would absolutely destroy the human race as we know it. If there is nothing in place to uphold it, there's no concept of death or the consequences of it, humanity would crumble. The human race would probably cease to exist. People would die left, right, and center, and devils would most likely take over anyway. Do you see how that can be a pretty big problem? Who would want to stop this? If someone was thinking this exact same thing, that messing with the idea of erasing the concept of death is bad, public safety would want to stop that. And this is why I think maybe they're potentially trying to stop all of this from happening. Not because Chainsaw Church is viewed as terrorist or creating illegal devil contracts with minors or have too much power or sway over the public. None of that. It's most likely, right now with the information we have, Denji or Pochita is too powerful to let him be controlled. If you give that weapon, that power to someone that doesn't know how to use it, they can change the balance of the human race and Earth as you know it altogether. You could seize to erase everything by accident. Public safety probably don't want that, and when it comes to death, they definitely don't want that. This would make a lot of sense why Yoshida has played kind of more so a passive role with trying to persuade and get into Denji's head and more specifically his heart to convince him to live a normal life. If Yoshida could convince Denji that he could function within a normal life, enjoy it, love it, appreciate it, live within it, there'd be no need for him to worry about Chainsaw Man coming back. Denji would have convinced himself and would be happy with whatever he's doing. Unfortunately, Yoshida failed, and that's most likely why he's going after Asa and Yori right now. He couldn't get to Denji, could only plant the idea of something that may be possible, but instead, to really kind of separate it, to really disconnect it, you take out the other problem, war. Even at the Now this puts into perspective a lot of different things, but one that has been really interesting is what is the whole point of the Chainsaw Man Church? What is the purpose? We now know that Fami is trying to handle death, legitimately, fully, but we also know why the Chainsaw Man Church is operating the way that it is. See, what Fami is trying to do is to, what we said before, manipulate public perception. She actually wants to bring fear to Denji. She wants to bring fear to the Chainsaw Man name and to war as well. So she's trying to link those two together while bringing the household name that is Chainsaw Man into a terrorized state. Something that is constantly thought about, something that is constantly feared. And the best way that she could do this, which is what she's been doing this entire time, is to build it up like it's one of the best things to exist. To put faith into it, to have people believe in Chainsaw Man, support, love, and appreciate him, only for it to turn it on its head. How do you turn everyone though? How do you convince millions upon millions of people that Chainsaw Man is bad on a dime? All of the people that are within that church are contracted with the devil, and they do it through the marriage proposal as well. It's not the Justice Devil. We find out that it's fire, and fire has some very peculiar abilities, but also just extremely powerful, and how you can kind of spread information, right? And create this atmosphere that is war. All of the followers that have a contract with fire actually turn into these mini zombie versions of Chainsaw Man. So the Chainsaw Man spawns out the head, spawns out the arms. It looks identical to what Denji does. They're going around killing the public, and the more of them there are, the more stronger they actually get. Currently, there is a total of over 350,000 humans with Fire Devil contracts worldwide. So public safety all across the globe are going to fight these individuals, and the name that is Chainsaw Man is going to be burnt to the ground. It's going to be sacrificed. The world is going to fear Chainsaw Man, and this is going to elevate and raise the power of what Chainsaw Man is. My question, how strong is death actually going to be if all of this has to take place to even get close to what death could actually be capable of? How much stronger can all of these people get? And if he can get stronger because of all the stuff that's going on now, is it amplified even further when war eventually tries to control them? And you remember that very first image that we got for Chainsaw Man Part 2, we had Asa wielding a chainsaw. It's all coming full circle. It's going to happen eventually. The issue that we face currently is that we don't know how strong death could actually be, so doing all of this is only getting us a fraction of the way most likely to give us a fighting chance. And this is a lot to actually do. The problem is that we don't have war anymore. We don't have Asa. She's currently being obliterated by public safety and by Yoshida. So we're currently sitting in this position of, okay, Asa's most likely going to be held captive. They're not going to be able to get rid of war that easily, so they're going to keep her under lock and key, right? I wouldn't be surprised if this most likely fell into to getting to her as quick as possible. But how do we convince Denji to do it? Is Naruto going to be the one to push this idea because she's the one talking about her older sister being deaf and that Nostradamus' prophecy is on the way? How is Denji going to feel about the world absolutely hating him? This is kind of a double-edged sword for Fami. Denji has always wanted to be praised and appreciated for being Chainsaw Man. Now the world's going to hate him. The world's going to ridicule him. Will he even want to change? And you can argue, well, he doesn't really care about all that stuff, but deep down he does, and that's kind of the point. You start to dive into a kind of complex minefield of where his mind is going, how he's feeling, how he's operating. So it's going to be interesting, very much so, on how he actually justifies himself turning back into Chainsaw Man and potentially helping, aiding, or doing whatever he needs to do to protect his own. Death also comes for him. It threatens his lifestyle. If he does nothing, he loses his lifestyle. If he turns into Chainsaw Man and does something, he still kind of loses his lifestyle. So what's he going to pick? I would easily say that this is the beginning of the end, that we're moving towards the finale of Chainsaw Man Part 2, and it's going to